Hey guys, this is Carey Martell here for Power Palace Gym. Here I'm going to present a possible back workout using some old school techniques, some newer equipment, okay? This is going to be a good back workout for you if you are just getting into weightlifting again. Maybe some of the stuff you add one exercise or two a day because depending on your current level of fitness, maybe you can't do the entire range of exercises. But there's something in here that's going to hit all the parts of the back, including the lats, okay? And it's going to give you an excellent back if you do this exercise. And I do have a deadlift in here, but deadlift is not the start of the exercise, of the routine, of the program, if you will. Like many people often do deadlifts at the very start of their exercise routine for back day. I don't, and there's a reason for that. And the reason is because I like to warm up my back by doing bent over rows. And I do bent over rows using a bent over row machine for a couple reasons. The first reason is I'm short. It's a little bit easier for me to get the range using a machine like this, where the bar is like very lower than the placement of my feet. So if I was doing a bent over row using the floor, it's actually a little bit harder for me to get the full range of motion because the floor is basically in my way. So using the stand is actually really helpful for me to get the proper angle. The second reason is that this particular bent over row, I can superset it with a T-bar row because it has T-bar attachments here in the center of it. So the bent over row attachments are here, and then the T-bar attachment is here in the center, and I superset between them for my warm-up. And I just like to do it this way. So that's what I recommend starting with. And then we are going to go on to doing a deadlift or a Romanian deadlift. We'll talk about that more in the next section here. Let's just start with, how do you do a bent over row? A lot of people like doing bent over rows with a barbell, as I mentioned before. You need to be, in my experience, probably a bit taller than I am, so we're gonna do it on this machine. Basic bent over row is you're bending over the bar and you're pulling it up and activating your back. It's primarily a back exercise. Some people use it as a chest dominant exercise for a pull motion, almost like they're doing a cable row. But that's not really how you're supposed to do it. So to demonstrate here, I'm gonna pick up the bar, all right? And I'm gonna pick up the bar using my legs to put myself into the proper position, okay? And I'm gonna bend over like this. And you see that my elbows are, my shoulders are forward, right? I'm gonna puff out my chest. As I'm puffing out my chest, I'm pulling back with my muscles of my back. See how much, it's all really in the shoulders. It's not really going like this, it's in the shoulders, okay? So you're really going into the shoulders and working the back muscles. You should really feel this in your back. So pull up, and now I'm gonna go and pull it toward my chest, okay? Just like that. It's a back dominant exercise. Okay? A little bit harder to do it while talking and I'm not having a proper breathing. Now I'm gonna demonstrate it with proper breathing. We're gonna go for 6 to 12 reps, okay? Okay, now I'm going to superset it using the T-bar, which is the exact same type of motion. It's just a closer grip, and it's going to focus more on the inner back. Take a big breath here. Okay. It's important that you have your back straight. You don't want your back bent while you're bending over. Okay? Your chest is bent over the bar, so your back is bent over. The other thing to keep in mind is your breathing, right? You can hear that I'm vocally counting as I'm breathing and exhaling. You exhale on the pull, not the push. The push being down, right? Which is counterintuitive to some people who are first getting into lifting. They're used to the bench press where you exhale by pushing away from yourself, right? But what you actually want to do with this exercise which is activating totally different muscles than a bench press, you're actually exhaling on the pull of the motion, okay? So you're gonna do this for 4 sets, 6 to 12 reps. And you're ideally with my routine, you're supersetting between the bent over row and a T-bar row, okay? You might have to, if you don't have a machine like this, which conveniently has both attachments, what you might do is try to get the bent over row attachment for a T-bar, and also have double D handles from a cable crossover machine that you can use for the T-bar row itself, and just do it on an actual T-bar stand, like a landmine attached to a cage. That's what I would suggest doing it with. That is the way I would suggest doing it. Okay, so this is also going to serve as a tutorial for how to do a deadlift and the variation that I'm recommending for this routine, which is the Romanian deadlift. Now, some people are more frequently used to the powerlifting deadlift, where you're basically trying to do either a 1 rep max or maybe like 90 to 80% of your total weight. So you can really only do maybe 3 reps, right, of the deadlift. In this case, I'm going to be focusing more on the Romanian deadlift, where you're really only using like maybe about 60% at the most of the amount of weight you could deadlift, but you're doing it to really more focus on developing your hamstrings and your traps, and of course your back. Because I do a bodybuilding routine, a powerlifting routine, I don't really care the total amount of weight I can lift. What I'm focusing on is developing my muscles to reach momentary muscle failure, which is what you need to do in order to trigger hypertrophy of the muscles, to increase the size of the muscles. And while powerlifting is a great sport, when you lift the total amount you could lift, and you always do that, you greatly increase the risk of injury to yourself. Of course, you get injured, then you're out for several weeks, or maybe months, or maybe the rest of your life. And I'm not really interested in competing in powerlifting. I'm just trying to build my physique up, which is more of a bodybuilding thing, even if I'm not interested in sports, the competition level of bodybuilding. Hope that explains things. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to demonstrate how to do a deadlift and how to do a Romanian deadlift. You could do your pick of either. I recommend Romanian deadlifts because it's safer, but whatever you want to do. So deadlift is a leg exercise. A lot of people get it wrong. They think it's a back exercise, and it does work your back, it does work your traps by virtue of the fact you're holding up the weight. And it actually is a leg exercise, okay? It's a hamstring exercise. I read online that people say it's a quad exercise. It's not really a quad exercise. It's a hamstring, it's a flex and a hip exercise, really what it is. But it ends up developing your upper body, especially your core, because of the amount of you're having to maintain the weight using your upper body strength. And even if you're not doing like a pulling motion, okay, like a bent over row, you're going to end up working your traps just by virtue of the fact that they have to hold that weight up, okay? So that's where some people get confused. They think they need to be working their back when they're doing the deadlifts. That's actually a good way to injure yourself doing deadlifts, okay? So this is what we're actually going to do. You're going to place yourself so that your foot is literally about half, the bar is like basically over your toes, and half of your foot basically. So the bar should basically be cutting off half of your foot. And there's some people that like to get really close to it. They like to literally put the bar up onto their ankles. I don't think that's the best position. I think that actually places more stress on your lower back than is needed. I like to do it this way, okay? Maybe that's more of a powerlifting thing, I don't know. So then what you're gonna do is you're gonna actually bend all the way down as if you're in the lowest position of a squat, okay? Your back's gonna be flat. You can have your shoulders a little rounded. That's not a big deal. Some people think having the upper part of your back rounded is a problem. It's actually not, okay? What you wanna make sure is straight is your lower back. And if you need to you're gonna lift a ton of weight, I would recommend having a weight belt to help you reinforce your diaphragm and make sure that you keep your back, your lower back supported. But in this case, I'm only using two plates here, so it's not a big deal. So we're gonna get down, we're gonna grab where it feels most comfortable, which is really shoulder width. which usually with the knurling is where the knurling begins on the bar. I'm gonna have my head up forward, looking straight ahead. In my case, I got some mirrors in the squat rack across from me, so I can actually look at my form and see that I'm doing things correctly. You're gonna make sure your butt is down, okay? You're basically in the lowest position of a squat. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna come up, and as you're coming up, you're gonna be doing two things. You're gonna be puffing your chest out, and by puffing your chest out, you're gonna bring your traps and your shoulders back out, okay? Some people focus on just bringing their traps back, but they don't do the chest puff. And you want a chest puff, okay? That's what you really wanna do. And the other thing that you do is you're flexing your hips outward, okay? It's almost like you're doing a hip thrust sort of movement. And as you do that, you're putting most of the weight into your hamstrings. This is very important. It is a hamstring dominant exercise. If you feel like you're moving the weight too much on your shoulders, on your core, you're wrong. You come up like this, all right? And you're coming up like that, okay? It's just like that. So let me do that again. Come down low and hook up like this, and then put it back down, okay? That's the deadlift. And the deadlift is always that motion where you're bringing it up and you're putting it back down. If you got a lot of weight on it, I don't recommend descending with the weight. You should drop the bar and not onto the loading jacks I have here. You should take it off, okay? Very safely from the jacks first, just like this. Put the jacks away off of the deadlift platform, all right? You line up yourself. Just like that, okay? Don't worry about damaging the bar. This is a deadlift bar that I'm using from Rogue. It is designed so that it can take a lot of weight and bounce around and restore to shape. And I'm doing it on a deadlift platform, which means I don't have to use bumper plates to protect the floor. Plates are usually gonna be fine doing it on a deadlift platform like this. So that's the standard. That is the standard. Another thing I should probably mention is you want to make sure you get the tension out, okay? The tension and the slack out of your body, so you have a strong posterior chain. And the way that you do that is when you're down here like this, okay? And you're about to lift up. What you're going to do is you're going to fill your lower diaphragm with air, and then you're going to lift. So I'm exaggerating my breath so you can see what I'm doing. Okay? And you're not going to release the oxygen in your lower diaphragm until you drop the weight. If you don't breathe that way, you're likely to injure yourself, okay? Especially if you use a lot of heavy weight. You want to have strong, all the tension out of your posterior chain. If you lift a lot of heavy weight and you've got no air in your diaphragm, you can very seriously injure yourself that way, okay? You have slack in your body. You don't have a strong foundation. This is where wearing a weight belt will help you reinforce that diaphragm when you're using a lot of weight. Using 2 plates, so I could easily get away with having nothing in my chest, but that's not proper form. And you want to practice proper form so that when you graduate from using low weight, you're using proper form. It's going to keep you safe when you're using a lot of weight. Okay. So now let's talk about the Romanian deadlift. Okay. So Romanian deadlift is where you basically don't drop it, but it's not a back focused exercise. There's some people that do it almost like a bent over row. They got the weight up here like this, okay? And then they try to go forward like this, and they try to pull it up like that. That's really a bent over row. Actually, that's almost like a bent over row mixed with a good morning, where your good morning is sort of the squat motion where you're going like that, which is a lower back exercise, but is a lower back exercise that should be practiced with very good form, ideally inside of a squat cage, probably, okay, just in case you start hurting your back with the safety arms there to help you. Maybe even using a safety squat bar. Romanian deadlift is not a bent over row. It is not a lower back exercise, okay? What it is a way to work your hamstrings and your core and your traps, your shoulders, your back, okay? in a very controlled manner, doing almost half of the descent of a deadlift. So it looks like this, right? I do a basic deadlift, and I bring the weight up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend over slightly. I'm going to fill up my diaphragm again so I can't talk. I'm going to bend over slightly, and then I'm going to immediately bring it back up. Now the important thing to notice is that as I'm bending over, I'm keeping this back straight again. My shoulders can roll forward. That's fine because, again, with the deadlift, you're trying to puff out your chest anyway. So that's going to happen. But you're only going down a little bit. You can go past your knees if you want. It's a little bit harder to talk and demonstrate at the same time, even with a small amount of weight on it. But you get the general idea, right? So I'm going to do a full set here. We're aiming for 6 to 12 reps of deadlift, Romanian deadlift, which is what you should be doing for this section of the routine, my recommendation. Otherwise, do a lot of weight, go for 1 to 3 reps. But I'm going to do Romanian deadlift, which is safer, for 6 to 12 reps. Eight reps is probably good, as I'm doing it a little bit slower than I probably would if I wasn't making this tutorial. So that's Romanian deadlift. And you do notice as I'm coming down, I'm releasing the oxygen as I'm descending, and then I'm starting again. Hold my diaphragm as I pull back up. That is something that you can also do. Just want to make sure that you have, as long as you're past this point, you can let go of it. When you're coming up, you have to have your lower diaphragm full of air, or you can hurt yourself. Hope this is helpful. Okay, the next exercise we're going to do is for our lats, which does to some degree also work a bit of the upper back, but this is really going to be focused on warming up our lats. Okay. I like to give the upper body a little bit more of a break and start working on the lats. Then I'm going to do another exercise for the back, the upper back at least, and then we're going to finish off with lats on the Super Pullover machine. So let's talk a little bit about the lat pull down, because a lot of people do not know how to use the lat pull down to actually work the lats. See, the problem is that the lat pull down machine is actually a very versatile piece of equipment. You can use it to work a lot of different muscle groups than just the lats. And that's what a lot of people end up actually doing, because they've never been shown how to actually use this correctly for the lats. As an example, you can use this for pull downs with the bicep. I like to sometimes warm up my biceps with a pull down using a underhand grip to really warm up the biceps a bit. And that's an excellent exercise, but it's not going to work your lats, right? And then a lot of other people use, they kind of do like a face pull, a chest pull exercise. And again, that doesn't work your lats. A lot of people use very shoulder dominated exercise. They're really pulling back with their shoulders. Again, not working the lats. So if you're just starting out with weightlifting, it's not unsurprising why that is, because a lot of people can't feel their lats, because they are, we mostly as modern humans live a very sedentary lifestyle unless you're doing something specifically to isolate the lats, you're probably not going to know what lats even feel like, okay? So the first thing you do is you don't have crazy amounts of weight on it. I've got, how much weight do I have on here? This is currently sitting at about 70 pounds, which is actually probably fine for me, but for somebody else, maybe you want to go a little bit lighter than that. The second thing is that instead of using the more traditional lat pull down bars, okay, I'm going to suggest, if you have it available to you, and many commercial gyms do have these available to you, you use the wide grip ergonomical bar instead. And the reason is because this is going to make it a lot harder for you to activate other muscle groups other than your lats to do the lat pull down. It's almost like a wide grip pull-up, but even though it's very similar and it looks very similar, you're holding it from the sides like this. And by holding it from the sides like this, it makes it very easy to focus on just those lats. So how do we do it, okay? Some people, they pull down, they're going all the way back like this. That is not how you work the lats, okay? That's more of a face pull exercise. The lats is you're literally coming underneath of it, and you're gonna puff your chest up, okay? You're gonna puff your chest up, and as you're pulling it down, you're going to try to activate your lats by pulling your elbows downward to your sides. And just by going like this, you're gonna be able to feel your lats. If you puff your chest out at the same time as you go down like this, and you try to flex your this area here, you're gonna feel your lats, okay? That is the lat pull down with the wide grip. This is perfect for beginners, for starting out and start developing your lats. And as your lats get bigger, and you're forming a stronger mind-muscle connection with your lats, you're gonna find it a lot easier to isolate your lats with other types of bars for the lat pull down. So just to demonstrate what this looks like, okay? Now, use my body weight just to bring myself down into this position. Okay, my arms way up like this, and my chest is kind of sunken in. And as I pull down, I'm going to puff my chest out, and I'm going to focus on bringing it down, not with my shoulders, but with my lats. And you're going to really feel it. You're going to really feel that tight, those lats be tight under here, okay? You're going to really feel that. And if you don't, just like focus on flexing your lats if you can, and then you'll start to feel it immediately. Like your lats will start taking over the exercise, okay? And what you want to do is you want to go for, you know, as with anything else, you want to go for 8 to 12 reps, okay? So I'm going to probably need to add a little bit more weight, to be honest. I'm going to put this at 90. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Okay, just like that. It's a very easy exercise to do once you have good form. And again, a lot of people have underdeveloped lats. You are not going to be able to lift a lot of weight. If you have to only put one weight stack on there, and that's what lets you just focus on the lats and using nothing else. You want to use nothing else other than your lats to do the lat pull down. That's why it's called the lat pull down and not the bicep pull down, okay? You want to do biceps, you put a straight bar on here and you grab it like this and you pull it down with your elbows going down toward your sides, okay? That's biceps, okay? You want to do a chest pull exercise, you put a different bar on here and you pull it towards your head, okay? And you pull it toward your chest. But here, you're trying to isolate the lats. That's why it's called lat pull down. I know I'm overstressing this, but it's very important, okay? This is a very versatile piece of equipment. You can work a lot of different muscle groups on it. But if you want to work lats, work your lats. Okay, the next exercise that we're going to do is the wide grip pull-up. And I'm going to do it on the weight assisted pull-up because 1, I'm fat, 2, I'm getting back into shape, and 3, I've already done all those other back exercises, so even if I was in tip-top shape, I'd probably have a hard time doing, you know, full set of 8 to 12 reps with pull-ups after doing everything else, okay? With the particular routine that I'm doing here. So wide grip pull-ups, pretty self-explanatory, okay? You're gonna take a wide grip on the pull-up bar, which is over here, hand overhead, okay? And you're gonna focus the the grip strength right into, right at where your fingers meet your palm, okay? And you're just going to pull yourself up, and as you're doing so, you're going to focus on pulling up with your lats and with your back muscles, more so than the shoulder muscles. So. See, barely do 6, even though I have set the weight stack at 100 pounds. So this is an excellent exercise. Honestly, if you just did deadlifts and you did wide grip pull-ups, you would have a pretty gnarly looking back, okay? But of course, I'm doing bodybuilding physique routine, so I'm trying to isolate certain muscle groups to trigger a little additional, growth in them, more so than if I just did deadlifts and pull-ups. But if, again, you have very little time in the gym, just do a deadlift and do wide grip pull-up, and you're gonna have a pretty good back, okay? So, again, 4 sets, aiming for somewhere between 6 and 12 reps. Okay, we are on the Nautilus Super Pullover Machine. You can, of course, do a different type of pullover. You can do a dumbbell pullover or a barbell pullover, but I have a Super Pullover Machine, which is the absolute best machine for isolating the lats. This is what all the Mr. Olympias, Mr. Americas, Universes, what they use, to get enormous backs. Dorian Yates is really well known for having used this machine. So I have actually made 2 videos on this channel talking just about how to use this machine. First video had a lot of good information. Second video has more information to respond to some questions people had asked me at the gym, some stuff I didn't have included. So I'm not going to make a super detailed tutorial on how to use Super Pullover Machine. I'll just give the basic advice of sit into the machine, align your shoulders with the red dot inside of it. Don't put on a crazy amount of weight when you first get into this, because again, this is a lat isolation movement. This is the only machine you can really use to isolate the lats without using any other muscle, okay? And the way to do it is step on the bar with your foot, bring down the arms, okay? You're gonna use your elbows to bring the bar down to your side, all the way down, just like this. And as you do so, you're going to puff out your chest and flex those lats, okay? You might need to use the seat belt to help you stay in there. I've actually found that seat belt does help quite a bit, actually, to keep your lower back there. So go ahead and use it. Somebody have screwed this thing up for me. Okay. It's a little twisted up, but I can still use it. So, and there's actually a couple different grips that you can use with this, right? You can use the overhand grip and put your elbows onto these things right here and pull down with the elbows and isolate the lats, just like that. You can put your hand in the center here, and you can focus a little bit more on the upper back while you're pulling it here, okay? And then you can also do a underhand grip as well to pull down on there as well. So just try and experiment with different things as you like to do it. I'm going to use the more traditional lat pull down. Sort of taking a little break here because I've been pulling it while talking, which is not how you use it. You're supposed to use proper breathing, okay? Breathe out as you pull down, take a breath as you let it go back up. Get a full stretch of the exercise, and here we go. Full stretch. You want controlled motions, by the way. The whole point is to have tension on your lats, okay? Nice controlled motions. Okay, now I'm going to cheat a little bit. This lets me get my shoulders a little bit more in there. Use more of my back, but it's going to push those lats a little bit further. Okay. Now you can can use this the traditional Nautilus way, where you just try to do like one crazy intense set. I don't do that. I just use this like a normal weight machine, where I do 4 sets, trying to aim for somewhere between 6 to 12 reps. And that's actually pretty good for me starting out. Maybe that's a lot better for people that are more physically developed. I don't know. I just find that, your lower back, your traps, they probably don't need that level of intensity. If I'm going to do a crazy, high intensity training, some heavy duty, Mike Mentzer level stuff, I prefer to do it with a much larger group of my chest muscles or my leg muscles. So I basically do it with the double chest machine, or I do it with squats, okay? And I just don't do it with this machine. Okay, now I'm going to do an exercise which is totally optional. This is completely optional for you. You don't have to do this. This is going to be more core dominant than it is going to be a back dominant exercise. It definitely does require stabilization of your back to be able to do it. But the reason why I'm doing this more core activated exercise is because I figure I'm already doing deadlift, I'm already doing pullover, I'm already doing stuff that activates my core on this day. I might as well just finish off my abs, right? And while I do have a rotary twist machine in here for the obliques, I do have power crunch machines. I'm lazy. I'm just gonna do this. And if I want to try to refine my core later on as I'm developing my physique, I might incorporate those machines into my workout. For right now, starting out, getting back into fitness, this coupled with the deadlift and the pullover is already sufficient, I think, for working the core. And what I'm going to be doing is an exercise often referred to as the Rocky, because this is literally what Rocky was doing during one of his montage training scenes in Rocky IV, where he was leaning over the side of a roof or something. I can't remember exactly what it was. And he had his feet being held by Paulie, I think, and he was doing what I'm about to demonstrate here. It has a different name for it, but I know it as the Rocky. So this requires you to use the GHD, the glute hamstring developer, and you're going to set your feet in like this, okay? And you're going to lean all the way back, and then you're going to come all the way back up. And as you come to this range, you're going to twist with your torso like that, doing the Rockies, okay? A lot of people learn how to do this as part of a sit-up where they just want to lean back and going like that, and they call that the Rocky. That is not the real Rocky. This is the actual Rocky, okay? And we're going to do this for like, try to make, somewhere between 6 and 12 reps. That's probably good. Okay. If you go down too far, you have a really hard time getting back up. But the fun thing is that you can do all the way to muscle failure on this. You're probably not going to hurt yourself. If you find the exercise easy, you can always put a plate, hold a plate on your chest as you're coming up, and don't do the oblique twist at the top of the motion. But honestly, doing deadlifts in this, you probably don't need that, especially with the pullover already being done, which does work your core a little bit. You're probably not going to have strength for that, especially where I have placed this exercise in the training program where you've already worked your lower back quite a bit. Again, we're going to do this for 4 sets. Okay, now we are on the final exercise for the day, and I actually need to adjust this before we get into it. A little bit. There we go. All right, this is called the 4-way neck machine, and it has a specific, very specific purpose to it. Okay, it is designed to isolate your neck muscles, especially your traps. Okay, it is designed to work them so that they reach muscle failure, which can be otherwise difficult to do. Now, not a lot of people specifically work their muscles of their neck, okay, because as I said before, doing deadlifts will work your traps anyway. And a lot of people do powerlifting, so they're already doing movements like shrugs to strengthen their trap for being able to do, deadlifts. But if you're doing other types of sports or you're a bodybuilder, you might want to use something like this, because you can not have to do yet another sort of deadlift variation, which is what a power shrug, is. Not having to, continue to use your arms to try to stabilize the weight and hold it for you. You can instead isolate your neck's muscles this way, okay? And it just works a little bit better for my routine. Also, if you want to reduce chance of concussions, let's say you play sports, contact sports that often get hit in the head. You're playing football, you're wrestling, you're doing historical fencing, okay? You're boxing, kickboxing, even playing softball or baseball, right? You can get hit in the head, basketball even. Having a strong neck, okay, will reduce the chance of getting a concussion, because when you have a strong neck and you meet force, you are able to keep your neck into a firmer position, and that reduces the chance of suffering from a concussion when you get hit hard in the head by having these strong neck muscles. So I like to develop the neck. Also, it just looks really hot, Girls see you in a t-shirt and you got a thick ass neck, you look yoked as fuck, okay? Let's be honest, that's the reason why most people do bodybuilding, is to pick up babes, right? More plates, more dates, okay? So that's your goal, one of my goals. This is a great thing to be doing, because you're gonna get the most bang for your buck having a physique walking around when you have a strong upper body, nice broad shoulders, nice thick neck, okay? That's gonna show to people that you have a high level of fitness, even if you don't have your shirt, even if your shirt is on. So, 4-way neck machine, the way that you use it is actually pretty straightforward, right? You're gonna put the weight stack in a comfortable weight where it's challenging but not impossible, okay? And I'm gonna put this at 35 probably is better, okay? There's not a lot of weight on this one, to be honest, which is why I have the gym pin that lets me add additional plates to the stack. This uses Kevlar belt, which can handle a lot more poundage than just 80 pounds, 50 pounds, which is the maximum on this. But you're gonna line it up so that your forehead, right above the bridge of your eyes, really. You wanna use your forehead to pull it down. You wanna isolate your neck. The only reason you have this here is not so that you're gripping tight and you're pulling down with your body. This is just to give you guidance on where to place your hands and your shoulders. And you're gonna pull down with your neck. Actually, I need to put this up a little bit higher because I am a short person. Okay. Your goal is just to use your neck muscles, right? And you don't let the selectorized weight stack go. Go all the way to the top, but don't drop the weight. Pull back down. And you should be using your forehead to do the motion. And that will use your traps. Hopefully I'm not mumbling my words while I'm saying that, okay? You're using your forehead to pull down, and you're not trying to use your chest. You're not trying to pull yourself to it. You're trying to just move your head down like this, okay? Just use those neck muscles. Okay, so that's the forward motion, okay? You're gonna do that 4 times, four sets, all right? Back of the head. To do the back of the head, you're gonna have to adjust this a little bit. I sometimes am lazy and I don't adjust into the forward position, all right? This just gives you a little bit more back stability here. And you're gonna find, if you already have strong traps from deadlifting, you're already used to this movement, you're gonna find that it's really easy to move your head back this way. You might have to add more plates on there, but for demonstration purposes, okay, just moving it back. You're just sort of, nodding your head back a little bit. And it's not a complicated exercise, all right? Okay, now we're going to do side to side. And the way this works is that we're going to aim ourselves this direction, okay? And we're going to try to lean our head to touch our shoulder without actually moving our shoulder. All right, just using the head, having consistent resistance against that neck muscle on the side, bringing it all the way down without bringing our shoulder up. And then for the other side of the neck, we just turn around like so, and we do the opposite of what we just did. Okay, that's 12. So that's how you use the 4-way neck machine, okay? And again, this is what I like to do. You know, not everybody has to do this. This is kind of a long session. My back day is really more than just the back because I'm using these compound movements like the deadlift that end up working your core, ends up working your traps, okay? Since I've already working my core, I'm gonna do something for the core. Since I've already working my traps, my neck, I'm gonna start working my neck, right? At the end of my session. So that's what I like to do. Not everybody likes to do it, okay? Does keep you in the gym a little bit longer, but I find just get this shit out of the way on the same day so that I can focus on a different, muscle group the next day. All right, guys, hope that you found this to be useful, and I'll see you guys in the next video I make for this channel. Thanks.